This week we're talking about The Matrix, the 1999 movie starring Keanu Reeves as he goes on his little journey with Morpheus and the gang. His little journey with Morpheus and the gang to beat the CIA or whatever the bad guys are. I never quite
The
like
agents.
fully the agents. Yeah, I guess it's not.
I don't know the organization.
Not very specific.
Who they work for?
They work for the Matrix.
You should have opened it up with Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
I've never seen The Matrix, but I feel like there's just so many I hear so many references to it that I pretty much like already had a really good idea of what it was going into it, and so I had these like high expectations, but I feel like the movie met those expectations. I did like this movie.
I thought you were setting it up to like say like it sucks.
Smash it down. Yeah.
Chris can't say it sucks unless somebody thinks it's good.
Else picks it. Someone else has to pick it.
Oh, that's true.
I am probably gonna be the biggest hater of this movie. I think this movie is
Dude,
just
he's a hater.
okay. I think this movie is like it's good, but it is not like the greatest movie I've ever seen. Like it, I think this movie is definitely very, very overhyped.
Very mid.
No, that's about where I'm at with it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's been built up so much, or a lot of people consider this like a lot of people treat this movie the way I treat some of the Star Wars movies.
So yeah, some people are like super committed to this movie.
Yeah, I was like, that was good, but a lot of the stuff is dated because of the 90s, and it doesn't really hold up, and it's goofy.
I mean, it's pretty old now, yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, what the story's cool, I guess, but Keanu Reeves really can't act that well. And like, it's a good movie, but it's
dare
not
you.
like this masterpiece that everybody says it is. Yeah. I don't know. I could see why people like to quote this movie and like have fun with it, and I could see the charm that it has, but was not blown away.
I mean, this could low-key be the best. This would be my favorite Star Wars movie if this was a Star Wars movie.
I don't know. What does that even mean?
like, this is better than all the Star Wars.
Better than any
movies.
Star Wars.
Like, yeah, like
Any Star Wars movie?
yes.
That's
Other
a
than
pretty ballsy take.
Maybe Rogue One. Rogue One is probably better. But
I
like,
mean, Rogue One's pretty fucking good.
Ahead, dude.
Yeah, dude,
And then-
relax.
and then you saying like, oh, the visuals, you could tell it's dated. I mean, the Star Wars movies are from the 70s. I mean, those visuals are dated. It's the same.
Yeah, but they definitely. But there's a big difference.
And I wasn't even talking about the visual.
This does look better than the revised version, like the George Lucas version of the original trilogy with all the awful looking CGI in it. And that CGI is technically newer than the CGI in this movie. So
I mean, for my opinion on this movie, I think a movie all around, like in a lot of different ways, like hit or miss. You're either gonna like certain parts of it or hate it. Like it does a lot is something that I like about it, but it definitely doesn't always work for me. Like I think it takes a minute to get into it, because I remember liking this movie, but like honest to God, like when I even rewatching it now, it was completely different from what I remembered. Like the specific parts are like, I thought there was way more like glitches in the Matrix. Like I thought there was more of that, like for the build up to it. That was like in 2 scenes. Like I was like, wait, that's like one of the biggest things that people talk about. A lot of what I really do enjoy is like, I enjoy like the plot of the movie. I really like the story. I think sometimes the visual works, sometimes it doesn't. I think they have a lot of really cool action scenes actually. Once again, it's really weird style, but it's completely on purpose. You know what I mean? And I think that like works for me, and I could definitely see it not working for other people though. Like the weird like the crazy martial arts. Like I think as a fan of like older martial arts movies, like I think a lot of the time I like it. I think it's cool because it's a reference. Not really a reference, but an homage to that style of filmmaking. Like I said, I'm a big fan of it, but I see the problems with it. I don't love it. Some of it is dated. CGI works sometimes, and then other times you're like, oh, that looks terrible. But I mean, come on, they were trying with a lot of new stuff back then. Some stuff's not going to look perfect. I really like the attempts in it, even when it doesn't land. You know what I mean? Like I like what they tried for.
I do like the fight choreography in this movie. That is something.
Oh, the choreography is amazing for sure.
They commit to it. The fact that it's so goofy, it's not like in 2 scenes. It's the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like they commit to what. Like I will say, this movie definitely has like it knows its own style, and there aren't a ton of other movies like this. There are definitely a lot of movies that ripped this off and like either tried to make fun of it or just intentionally ripped it off. But like, I don't know, I can appreciate the very first scene of the movie where she jumps and pauses midair and snap kicks that guy.
Yeah,
like that shit is cool. But I don't know. Again,
I think the pauses worked. Those specifically for me, at least, I think always looked cool. Like when he drops the camera and it's like, oh shit, and it like keeps going. Like I think sometimes it really like that was one of the things I think worked and like worked with the style. But I don't know. There's certain times where like when he's just like running past the bullets, I don't know. It looks kind of corny to me. Like the scenes, the action set is cool. Like with everything like blowing up and looking sweet, but like him just like running like in a straight line like this, I didn't think that was as cool as maybe they thought it looked.
What's your thoughts on the fact that like he wins because he gets a kiss from the girl or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know what that was supposed to mean. I just
yeah.
So
there's a funny South Park episode where they kind of make fun of it, where like Stan like is becoming like an alcoholic, and they're like, Stan, you have to help us defeat the lizards.
The Matrix, yeah, they're the
lizards. He goes, or robots from the future. Fuck you, whatever. You'll see it.
Yeah.
It was like,
fuck you.
I kept thinking about that when like it's like Neo is the one. That's why he lives. Is that why? Yeah, because you got a kiss. Fuck you, whatever.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make sense because they go through that whole thing kind of saying like, oh, the Oracle doesn't matter, like you make your own future, and then the girl's like, oh, well, you're going to be alive because it's the prophecy, and it goes against like what they were saying with Neo. So
yeah, why'd the Oracle lie to Neo?
Wait, I'll get really into that, but John, did you get to give your opinion real quick before like because this is going off the hinge.
Yeah, I was just waiting.
This is going off the rails if you don't get this because like I'm ready to go now.
I was just reserving my comments because I think
I'm gonna try to remember where we were at.
I am definitely the greatest enjoyer of this movie. I think this movie is actually fucking fantastic. This is kind of just like I don't want to say like the blueprint for like the modern kind of
action sci-fi.
Maybe,
kind of.
Yeah, maybe because this is like our second in a week foray
in a row
into like the the cyberpunk inspired kind of fiction. And
I mean, you see definitely references from Blade Runner just in this.
Oh, absolutely. And like Sam said, tons and tons of different works of sci-fi have been inspired by this. But this was also inspired by a lot of different other stuff, like
the anime was,
like Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell. That's where they got the cybernetic, the green code stuff. That's where they got that from.
There are certain things like, the kiss at the very end that's like, okay, it's a little silly, but I think everything else, like, because especially like what this movie is trying to say, because you often hear red pill, break the matrix,
I know it's crazy what it's related to now,
but what it's related to now, but when you actually like experience it within the confines of the movie itself, you realize that it's what it's actually trying to say.
Quite the opposite.
I like it.
It's like the opposite of like
the
when
opposite.
You hear it. Yeah,
I don't even get the movie. It's funny,
and it's actually like I think a really great message, like overall, like just for in general how to live your own life too, and like on top of it, a really pretty fucking kick-ass sci-fi movie. It's
definitely kick-ass. I 100% agree on that.
The action is like very deliberate. I think like all of like the like intensely choreographed like kung fu, like I know kung fu.
Yeah,
like,
I think those scenes are sweet. Don't get me wrong. Yeah,
an absolutely ridiculous amount of bullets flying everywhere.
That was what I wondered. What do you think the budget, like how much of the budget for this movie do you think went towards like drywall and concrete?
Dude, insane amount. There was definitely scenes that I was like, how did they do that?
There are so many scenes of like either people getting thrown into walls and there's like an impact in the wall, or just like walls getting shot with bullets and broken.
Yeah, or getting blown apart over and over. And it had to take a more than one shot to do that.
The budget was concrete, leather.
There was a lot of leather.
Sunglasses. Explosives. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I want to know what was going on in the 90s, because they're like, not only is the style super goofy with all the weird sunglasses and all the leather, there is like a million movies made about like, I cannot stand living like this. I need to escape and destroy this world.
In the same year. Well, I mean, because that was kind of when that was
they span all these different genres too. Like there's Fight Club, which is like a serious movie.
Yeah.
This is like a sci-fi action movie. There's fucking Office Space, which is like a comedy.
It's
like were people okay in the night? Like what?
I think it's because
kind of not. They're even worse now.
Sort of the fabric of like the system, like the cracks were starting to
The
kind of come
Matrix.
through. Yeah, things. It was literally, I think, starting to break people. Especially because of the threat of
It was definitely getting big to break away from societal norms, which I think is very much a large portion of this. The themes of this movie is I mean, maybe societal norms really isn't the best way to say it, I guess, but
it might just be the .com boom changing the economy and people adapting to it. That literally.
well, I
might
mean,
just be it.
absolutely, that's always part of it.
And I
Or
guess too,
the reflections of each other.
because obviously the internet having that much, because I've often heard it say human beings are just not supposed to have access to this much information at any given time, but having that much information really did change people's perspective on their outlook on the system and like what they think they should be, as opposed what the system says they should be as opposed to what they think they should be.
Well, I mean, it's like the same thing that as all artists have always tried to push apart, is that you are more than just what you're supposed you're expected to be or what you're supposed to do. There's more to life than that. You're not just a drone type stuff.
Yeah, more than your 9 to 5.
Yeah, you're more than a drone just to be used and tossed aside. I mean, that stuff would probably be even more important back in the day when you were just a farmer your whole life and that was it, and then you died at 25. That was probably the really stuff.
Nothing wrong with farmers if you're watching.
And it's
I didn't say that. I said that's all you
Farmers
did, and then you died at 25.
25-year-olds.
And that's a great point by Cole, because there's also the existence of the counter. There's the blue pill here, and we see how the blue pill is exhibited by Cypher, because
I hate Cypher. Fuck that dude.
Cypher had a point though. He definitely had a point.
Well, he should have thought about that before he took the wrong pill. He was committed.
He took it 10 years ago, and for 10 years, if this is all that, if this is what the truth is, I don't want to know. It doesn't make him right, but it's important, to recognize that.
Yeah, but he is a dick after that too, though. So
He does murder his friends.
He does murder his friends, which fucks up his opinion. But I do like that there's you don't really know who's right, at this point, on what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? They could, because you don't know if they could even really save the world at this point. Yeah. It might be done. They might not be able to save it. From what it looks like, it could be just over if they take over. If they beat the robots, then what do they do?
And
the whole freedom versus safety debate of what would you choose?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not arguing either way, but I'm arguing that it is I understand why they would choose against it.
Yeah, because it's Morpheus's whole thing is that all I can do is show you the truth. What you do with that is up to you. He's not
he can't walk through the door.
Yeah, he's not specifically making you do anything. He's just presenting it to you.
Yeah, if we're done with the getting the opinions thing, I want to go back to what we were talking about. Where we were I don't really get the kissing thing's kind of complicated, but to talk about the fate thing that they were talking about the whole movie. One of my favorite parts is that right after he knocks the vase over, remember? Because she said something about it, and he turned and hit it over, and she goes, what's really going to kill you is wondering if you would have did it had I not said anything. And I think that just explains the rest of the movie right there, and why it's important that she kissed him. It's like I said, it's probably meant to be references to other tales and stories and stuff like that, but why her kissing him makes him the one then, and shit like that. And when they talk about him dying, I always consider it that's the old him dying. What's his name when they talks about in the beginning? What's his actual name? Not Neo. It's Thomas Anderson.
His fake name. No, he is Neo, not Thomas Anderson.
But listen, that's why in the beginning he said only one of you has a life going forward, and she told him that he was going to die, but it was Thomas Anderson that died, and now he is Neo. He is the one. That's what that is.
Rip Thomas.
So pretty much everything she said did come true, but it wasn't the way you expected.
Oh, if you rearrange the letters in Neo, you get one.
It's my favorite joke after this movie came out, when everyone was like, wait, it's an anagram for the one.
Anagrams don't count in 3-letter words.
some of my favorite things about this movie is when you watch it back and everyone's it was so dude, there were so many levels to it, it was so clever. It's this is so obvious now, but that's because of this movie that you watch it and you're this is obviously means this. This is all clearly representation.
Well, I think it is a clever idea though.
Oh, it's really sweet.
human
But it is pretty
batteries.
on the nose. It's pretty on the
yeah.
nose.
They copied
is what
Rick
I'm
and Morty
saying.
there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they did. They did copy Rick and Morty.
Another thing, just stealing from Rick and Morty, dude. Nothing can be original anymore. Dude, how cool is Morpheus's outfit, though, dude? I actually
All their
think,
clothes are
Swagged
sick.
out.
I think especially Morpheus looks badass with like the tie and shit. I think
He
he
got the
looks
cool
sweet.
glasses, dude.
Yeah, he has, like, the
glasses
little-
tie everything together.
They don't. They
What's
don't
the-
have like the things that go behind your ears.
Anchors.
Yeah, they just sit on his eyes.
They just sit. Like he presses them in, and they just sit perfectly.
The actor's name is Laurence Fishburne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure. Also, pretty cool guy. Like, he's in a lot of other shit I really like. So, just wanted to say, I like a lot of the actors in this movie. Like, you talk shit on Keanu Reeves, but I really like Keanu. I'm not saying he's like the best actor
he was
ever, but
fine.
I like him
He
as a
was
dude.
He's
I thought he
fine.
did a good job.
I kind of thought he was
in this
rough.
movie.
But I was gonna say, you know what's cool? I find it super interesting about this movie is that him doing this is what led Keanu Reeves down the route of doing. Because I don't know if he really watched his movies because he was still making some
I've
movies
never seen a
before
Keanu Reeves movie.
before he did John Wick. Well, before this, he did comedies. Like he was more of a comedy actor, and this was like his transition into action, which is why I think he did a pretty good job especially for that. But
Well, he did Speed before.
oh,
this
I
as
forgot
well.
about Speed.
Bill and
That was
Ted's.
before this. He did like a bunch of I don't know about a bunch, but he did a couple martial arts movies in between that were really badass. And it's just interesting to see how this like led him down this like martial arts pathway from doing this
Well, yeah,
movie.
because he is like really committed to, I guess, more than method acting. Because like he learns martial arts. For
Yeah,
John Wick, he actually like learns like
How to use those guns and stuff.
how to actually shoot.
Like
so.
breach and clear and shit. He was doing all that. It was pretty sweet. Like his martial arts background's crazy, super interesting. Yeah.
Although
And
the-
Laurence Fishburne has a horror background that's pretty cool.
Keanu Reeves, I will say, he's a little bit one-dimensional. I will
Yeah,
say
like-
that. If there's any,
Yeah, he doesn't have like a lot of range, but I mean, I still really like him in like everything he does.
Well,
Like,
he works in a role
Plays his
like
roles.
this. Yeah, yeah. There's nothing wrong with like typecasting.
especially when you're a fucking cool ass dude like Keanu Reeves.
I mean, dude, the John Wick movies are insane. I didn't see the
dude,
fourth
John
one
Wick needs your help.
And
Leave
just
your
being
credit
a
card
stand
info
up guy
down
in
below.
general.
He is the best part of Cyberpunk 2077
Yeah, I never played that
for
game.
sure.
I've not played it. I own that game.
Yeah,
I've not played it.
I bought it, played like 5 minutes, never touched it after that.
Well
But
worth it.
dude, so I was gonna talk about do you? I don't feel like I don't know if it really continues throughout the whole movie because I don't know the story that well. But do you really like the Alice in Wonderland references in the beginning? Because I feel like a lot of this obviously references a lot, but I think it's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I
like
like
it,
Wonderland that well enough, I guess.
It's been
Well,
a minute since yeah.
So, well, the main one
Okay.
I was gonna say real quick was there's obviously like the White Rabbit and stuff, which is what she chases to fall into the hole, and there's the whole pretty obvious on the nose where like you're tumbling down the hole and like you can't get yourself because you're. Which is interesting because if you know Alice in Wonderland is kind of like the idea of it is a world where our rules don't apply, where like people are different like that. And so that's why the references are cool. But specifically, I was going to say the mirror, when he goes into the mirror, that's through, I think that's the second book, which is called Through the Looking Glass. That's how she goes into Wonderland the second time,
Okay.
which is once again a cool scene. And I don't think looks that bad. I don't think looks great, but I think looks good and like
Okay.
good,
I was
I
gonna say
think
I didn't really understand like how because that was like the method by which he like broke like out of the Matrix.
That's when he first left it.
Yeah, and I didn't quite understand.
Which
like,
is interesting because it's him leaving the Matrix in this.
yeah,
when
I
he's
didn't
going
I
through
didn't
the
I didn't
looking glass.
quite get like how that was the method by which he left, but like that makes more sense now.
Yeah, it's a reference. I didn't know if you guys knew that one. I think it's cool. And then I think it kind of stopped showing a lot of references to that. I guess.
So with like the
Maybe.
White Rabbit, like that stuff.
Yeah, the White Rabbit. That's what she follows that gets her to go down.
Is
the
the
hole in
phrase
first one.
"down the rabbit hole" from Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the rabbit hole that she falls down into Wonderland the first time.
I think the worst looking part of the movie is every time they're showing the outside of the ship flying around. It just looks terrible.
When the AI machines fly around.
Yeah,
It's actually
the
pretty.
killer robots.
I think it looks
It's
fun.
actually pretty jarring though. The first time that he comes out of that pod and you see what humanity has become,
That
especially
was
like
pretty good.
because like we made the Rick and Morty reference now. You see that more often now, but back then it's like, damn, that's crazy. That wasn't done before.
Yeah. What's your thoughts
I'm
on
a
how
little confused.
green this movie is? Like it's the entire movie is just so green tinted.
Dude, I love it. I think it works. Yeah, I think the colors work with it.
I think it fits like the old like computer like
Yeah,
like
well,
green.
yeah, it's supposed to have the green
Yeah.
screen like
How
thing to it.
hacking always used to look and how they
Yeah.
were just associated.
I like that they're basically like
this movie the
hackers.
first one to do that, really?
Because it's like
I don't know.
the majority of the time that we see them, like whenever either they're in the Matrix or in the any kind of program that they load from within the ship, like that is their digital self, as Laurence Fishburne explains.
Oh.
Or Morpheus.
Yeah, it's your digital perception of yourself.
Yeah, so like for it to be mostly green, you associate green with like computers,
Technology,
and
and
cyber,
it's just yeah.
Yeah, you could see one frame from this movie and you'd instantly know it's
Because it's
from The
green.
Matrix because of
Yeah,
that,
pretty much.
Everybody's
Yeah.
dressed in leather or a suit and has a gun.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though that I actually like
lots of guns.
the characters in this movie are definitely a big strong point in my opinion. Like I feel like they all are at least in some way have at least one character moment that makes them like worth being on screen. Like even Switch, like she like says nothing the whole time until she dies, and she goes not like this, and it's actually like you're like oh shit, like that's fucked up.
Well,
so it's actually good
because that goes to the star of the show, Agent Smith.
Yes.
Agent Smith does kill it, dude.
Not only is like
Dude, he's like rubbing his sweat and shit. Like he was into it. He was doing it.
Not only do I really think that like Hugo Weaving's performance is like probably the best in this whole movie, but like they actually like made a character out of him, even though like initially he's just kind of this like
he has motives.
He's like the brooding, like unstoppable force for most of the movie, but then like
Pretty much a Terminator.
Basically, yeah, but he gets like humanized like whenever he's having that like interrogation with Morpheus.
Well, that's what's funny about humanizing it's basically the AIs that they're fighting, but basically his humanization that he only has one objective and he just wants to get that one objective done. Like it's like torturing him that he can't do it.
Why does he hate humans so much?
Which is interesting to like the reference of the Matrix. Like he is stuck in this like one thing that he can do. Like that's that until he does that, he will never be happy.
He's just as stuck as the humans
as
are.
the things, yeah, which makes you feel for him. It's he definitely the best character in the movie. And I like actually arc wise, but like I still think Morpheus is so cool for no reason. I don't know why. He's definitely a really good villain.
He is part of the best scene in this movie. The best like 0.5 seconds where he catches Neo's fist and he hits him in the neck.
He pokes him in the neck. Dude, what the fuck was that scene with the minigun though? When bro, he guns down this whole room and it's in like slow mo and like no one gets lit up, bro. They just like jump out of the way. That was definitely one of the weak,
dude.
Yeah, and he just doesn't hit Morpheus, which I think once again it's like the Matrix thing where like if you believe and like focus and control it. Remember, like it's what does he say? What does the kid say about bending the spoon?
Real.
Yeah, the spoon isn't actually there. Yeah,
so it's the more you just gotta believe, and then you can get anything.
Well, yeah, because you have to remember they're like hackers, and like that's kind of like so they're just like as long as they're like using their brain and like controlling the situation, they're fine, and they're in a simulation, so nothing that happens there really matters. That's the point.
Yeah, it's contingent on like
what you must know. They said
you gotta know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess it's more than believe.
Why do when you die in the Matrix does your mind shut off or whatever? Like, what is the mechanics of that?
Dude, because there have to be some fucking stakes, dude. Shut up.
I was exactly
literally like, come on, Chris.
Well, because they are also like physically connected. Because like
they got that.
The things in the back of their head.
It's literally like jammed into their brain.
If we're talking real theory, it would oversurge, probably cause electrical surges, and then literally fry your brain.
I mean, they gotta build up.
I feel like it's also kind of a reference to you like not being able to survive without technology and shit. Probably a bit of a reference to that.
Yeah,
because isn't it like wouldn't it be like if you die, it's like you're separating your consciousness from your body because your
that's the literal definition they give. Yeah. Actually, that's literally what Morpheus says.
Yeah, because at the beginning, Agent Smith like talks about like how like Thomas Anderson is he's a good citizen, but then there's Neo.
That's what I was talking about before. Yeah, the two lives thing.
Yeah, and like
which is why, yeah.
Because like I'm trying to remember because there's a
Neo.
There's another.
Their names are so funny, by the way. I forgot to add that. Like their names are so goofy. I don't get it. Like that's so like '90s post-apocalyptic future names. APOC, Trinity. What's his name? What's the one that betrays his name?
Tank.
Tank.
Once again, the Tank is such a likable character. His brother's only in it for like a minute before he dies, but even him, you're like you feel bad when he thinks he watches his brother die before he gets killed. They all have at least something to them. They're not just. Yeah.
Do people respect the sequels to the Matrix? Like, what are those about?
No, I
haven't seen
think
them, but
I
I've
think
heard
people. I think the second one's considered like all right, and then the third one's not considered good. If
Has
I,
anyone
if
seen
I
them?
they come out like
I
I've
have.
watched them before, but
See,
I
that's the
don't
thing is,
remember.
I have not. I really like this movie, but I've never.
They came out the same year
Yeah,
though. I remember that. It's super
They
weird.
should have stopped.
They didn't release them. I think it was always meant to be a trilogy though, but they didn't release one for 4 years, and then they released them both at the same time, or not? I don't think at the same time, but like right.
Same year, I
Isn't in
think.
the
Back to
third
back.
one like Neo fly around? He's like literally just like a superhero.
He flies
Yeah,
at the
well,
end.
he
in
does it in
though.
this one. That one,
Flies
dude,
out
that's
of the
another
first one.
thing. That's another thing I think they could have left out. That looked pretty lame. I thought if they thought it would look cooler than it did.
No, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Wait, what do
How
you-
else would you end it?
I mean, I think
think
people
Superman
thought that
movie.
was cool as fuck like
They
20 years
probably-
ago.
Yeah,
Like,
what-
was
people thought that
peak
was
No,
the
what
shit.
was cool as fuck is the
Keanu Reeves.
the Black and Rage Against the Machine coming on. That was cool.
Dude,
as fuck.
Dragula at the club, dude. Come on. When the thing is, like some scenes, like, and that's one thing I think, like even the dodging the bullet scene, like that's still cool, but it's definitely not as cool to me as it was
Nah, that's pretty cool.
back then. I don't. It doesn't feel as cool when he does that now. when
That
he
is
just-
like a weird scene where like he shoots, misses. The next guy shoots, misses, and then Trinity
Bro,
just
but-
point blank shoots.
But when
him. Like,
she
where was
blows
she?
his head off, wait, when she blows his head off, that's badass though.
Yeah, so
when
why
she's
didn't
like-
she just shoot him sooner.
But because she had to say dodge this.
She had to sneak up.
Well, no, well he could have dodged it if she wasn't like right on him was the point. But like she had to say dodge this, or it wasn't as cool. Come on, dude.
If you have an opportunity to launch a catchphrase, like you got,
Dude, yeah, and you gotta pose too. You gotta bang.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah, she
can't.
did
Yeah,
the-
Sam.
the
s-
wide
someone,
angles.
You
someone,
gotta slay at all times.
yeah,
dude.
someone sticks a wide-angle lens in your face. You have to do something cool.
Yeah, dude. What are you gonna do?
What about when he wakes up in the pods?
In the
It
That's
looks
what I was
pretty
talking
gnarly
about
when they
earlier,
rip out
yeah.
the tubes.
Oh, it's
Wow.
gross.
That looks really good. I mean,
That
gross,
robot-
yeah, but
Yeah, like in a
looks
good gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
The robot grabs him and then just lets go and goes away. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just kill Neo?
See, I don't know if that, but I feel like that's something that comes up in a later movie, maybe or something. I don't remember.
Oh.
Like,
I
cause
feel like they were probably like, oh, he'll go down that slide and then just
And
fall into
die,
the
yeah,
abyss.
maybe
that because that was like a garbage shoot, is what it looked
yeah,
like.
I don't remember. I feel, but I definitely see because I feel like I know there's sequels now. Every time I'm like, I feel like that was probably gonna come up later. You know, certain shit you don't know the full answers
I
to.
just remember the plot gets really convoluted.
Yeah,
Like, it gets
I remember
more and more
little
confusing
parts.
every movie.
I mean,
Yeah,
do
I feel
we
like they
carefully
should have made
talk
this
about it a
a
little
standalone
bit?
movie.
Do we
Yeah,
like?
okay.
So basically, I remember the second one. They like, I towards the end, I remember they like start losing. I don't remember how. Like, I remember Agent Smith becomes like Neo or something, and
Agent
then
Smith,
and-
like clones himself a million
yeah,
times.
but he has like the powers like Neo. Yeah, there's like a million of them. And then the third one, they're like getting fucked. They're like about to lose. Is like the whole movie.
So,
And then somehow Neo realizes none of it matters or some shit. I don't like.
do
and-
they expand upon Zion? At
Yeah,
all?
yeah.
They
you
go
actually
there.
go to the
Yeah, they
city.
go there.
Okay.
They have a crazy party there. That's the big scene. I remember it. And then I forget who has the last stand at the city, and it's pretty badass in a mech suit.
All there's some dude with like white hair that shows up, right? In the sequence.
I don't. Oh yeah, no, the dude in the like the lighthouse thing, the guy that like sees all everything or something. I
It was like-
forget.
it was some math guy. Like
Yeah, it was some fucking nerd.
some
No.
dweeb, yeah.
No, there's
fucking
there's
dweeb.
some dude with like long like white dreads, and he's like really
Oh, no.
pale white
I-
skin. He shows up.
Huh?
remember.
I don't remember him. I think you're talking about the old guy, the old nerd guy in the white room.
The old nerd guy in the white room.
Wait, and that's Matrix, right? I'm thinking about the right movie.
Did we what?
Looking it up.
I don't know.
So the
That
first
could be
movie is
mixed
an
it up.
8.7, and then the next two 7.2 and 6.7 on
Yeah,
IMDb.
they get worse and worse. I know is how it's considered.
Yeah, and they
I
dropped
think-
them both 4 years later. That's so weird.
Yeah,
They
they,
made
in
one
the same year.
recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did the new one. I don't know how good the new one. I didn't even hear anything about it, so that can't be too great, right?
No, the
Oh,
one that I
shit, they
am
did do a new one. Yeah.
Yeah, Resurrection.
the one that I am curious about though is I want to say it was alongside or before the sequels, because the sequels like 2 and 3 came out like at the same time, right? Or,
Yeah,
in
they the same year.
There was a anthology film that was made called The Animatrix, where it was a bunch of like anime directors made like their own like short stories
films?
within the world of the Matrix.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I would actually really like to see that, because I've
Check
heard
it out.
I've heard that's actually like really good. So,
I'd be interested in that. I mean, it's a cool world for sure. And I feel like it, especially with this anime like references, be pretty sweet. I want to
Periods.
I want to know Good input. I want to know why the ship was named Nebuchadnezzar. I looked it up and it was just like a what's it called? I
He's a
forget
king.
who
Who
is
is
Neb- yeah, he's a king. He's an emperor.
Nebuchadnezzar.
I
He
think
was
of
from,
not the Aztec of something
No,
empire.
King Nebuchadnezzar put the people in the furnace, right?
Yes.
In the Bible.
Yeah.
I think
What
you're
was
right.
that?
Or wait, was that Nero? Are you thinking of Nero?
Nero is a
Nero's from Rome.
Roman emperor.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah,
Nebuchadnezzar was a Assyrian king.
Yes, I think
Maybe?
you're right with this. He's an emperor, Assyrian. I think Assyrian emperor, some
So-
old one, old,
Someone fact
old
check
as
it.
shit, old as shit.
Because he put the guy.
He's
he put,
chicken.
they sound like the
Shadrach,
what
Meshach, and
Raven says.
Abednego.
I was gonna say Azrath.
Is that what they're
That's
called?
Titan.
Yeah, he puts
Shadrach,
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego get put into the furnace.
I don't remember this story.
I don't either. I feel like I'm like
has
the
good
lore guy too, and I don't remember.
They because they get put in the furnace and then they don't burn alive, and this guy's like, okay, we're all gonna be Jews now, I guess. 'cause
We're
the
gonna be
Old Testament-
Jewish.
And then Jesus Christ appears.
Yeah, some thousand years later.
Yeah,
Jesus appears.
that is
Jesus
a
Christ.
that is a
Neo
really
is totally
weird.
not a Jesus standard, dude. Not at all.
That is a really weird moment in the Bible because like that happens in the book of like it's like a very early book of the Old Testament, and it's like Jesus, like not just like a blank slate like Messiah, but like Jesus as they
Right.
as he is known in the New Testament shows up like that early on. It's like wait what? He just doesn't appear for thousands.
You think
of years
Nero's
later.
like a Jesus character? Like he's kind of
Nero?
like the second coming, or not Neo.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh,
what are you talking about?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's pretty obvious. I feel like everyone
But
kind
he's
of knows
like
that now.
he
He's like a
like
Jesus
died
character.
for them, and then he returned again years later.
I do really like
Oh,
the
yeah.
setup to his character though, especially like early on with like the building scene when he's like, there's two ways you're getting out of this building. You can go up to the roof or leave in custody. And he at first you think he's gonna try to go up to the roof, but he ends up pussying out. And that's just like his character throughout the whole movie until he finally decides to just fucking go for it and do it. And then he finally becomes the one. With like, and it goes back to what Morphe says. I think he says this at the end. It's the difference between knowing the path and walking the path. And I thought that was badass. Once again, I was like, yeah, that's hard, dude. He's like, you gotta be about it. I want to like. It is super funny that like the Oracle in this is just like an old black lady, just a nice old black lady in
I
a
don't
cooking in
understand
an
what her-
apartment.
What is the importance of her even being a character?
Is she just a really good like advice lady, or does she actually know the future?
Well, it's
Like,
just like
I don't
going.
know.
I feel like it's like a reference to like Greek mythology with the literal oracles, obviously, where they like tell you your fate, and once again it plays out no matter what you expect, even if you think that it's like obviously not doing, or you think it's not what you expect. I mean, like for him,
With the Kung Fu Panda quote that Uguay sets up. He says, "One often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it."
exactly that. I couldn't really put it to words, but she's like the all-knowing character. Because I mean, he just goes through the hero's journey. Like I wish I'm an idiot. I should have just like memorized it for this. But like, if you follow the basic path, I feel like I don't remember if that's like a must thing, but that's a pretty typical thing in their journey.
It's
You
like
must
there's
eat a cookie.
Where they
Call to
see-
adventure. I can't remember what the second part is called when you're like actually on the adventure, and then there's
Eat a cookie.
like the return home.
Eat a cookie.
Eat a
Yeah, there's the
cookie.
return home, and there's obviously the return home in this, which that's when he goes
And-
back with the abilities, and he's like, "I'm gonna fuck your day up."
Yeah, and then you set a new status quo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the new status quo. Exactly,
But,
and he learns.
I guess maybe
But-
Oracle's like narrative position. I understand that. I just don't understand her real world. Like
Well, who the
in
fuck is she?
universe, Well, what the hell?
'Cause,
Is this lady just
yeah.
at this house for?
She just knows all, which
She's just cozy there.
Isn't
Seems like they
she?
should kill
That's just
her,
her
not
thing.
Neo.
Isn't she AI or is she? Is she?
I think they.
She's
I
in the
think
real
they-
world, right?
I think they say that in.
Or like,
No, she's in the Matrix.
yeah, she's in the
I'm
Matrix.
pretty sure she's AI. I know they talk about that in the next movies. But
Okay.
Do they? I don't even
remember.
remember that. Maybe
I
Because-
think
she
they
is,
do.
yeah.
They keep talking to her. I
Because,
know
like,
that.
I thought
I
it
know
was-
she's in the other one.
I thought it was either that like she was a person in Zion or like an AI, like similar to like Agent Smith.
I don't think they really bring it up here.
I'm pretty sure she's an AI. though.
It probably comes up in the other ones. I don't remember.
so
though.
she tells Neo that he's not the one, so that he will be the one. Like that was my interpretation.
He's
Like,
not
why-
the
why
one-
did it? Why,
He's not the one right now. Like he's just who he is right now could not be the one. You know what I mean? Like,
What changed? What was the thing that changed?
Thomas Anderson, he's not the one.
Yeah, well, and there's also the fact like he doesn't think he could be the one right now. Remember, like and she even says like you'll feel relieved as soon as you walk out of here. Like you thought that from the. That's basically what you're telling him. Like you don't want to be the one. You're not going to be the one. You know, you don't want to be it. Then it's not going to happen.
And then so the thing that changed was then he believed he was the
one. And obviously there's supposed to be the reference back to the vase where she's like, if I didn't. Which is why it was like my favorite line in the movie. It's like if I didn't say that, what's going to kill you is if I didn't say that to you, would you have did it? And it's just like, oh shit, like because he only turns around because she mentions the vase too. So he wouldn't even have turned if she didn't say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, what fucking smacks it right over.
Hey, it's just like, you know, Junior Cortez in Spy Kids 3 where he's pretending to be the guy.
Dude, and he just gets fucked up, dude. That's like Smith. He thought he was the guy.
But then he believes at the end, and then he is the guy.
Yeah, exactly, dude. When he, that scene that John was talking about, I thought actually might have been off camera. When he's like, what does he say, John? The sweat or the stink, and he's rubbing. He's rubbing the sweat off his head, and he's like, "It's like, oh god, that is fucking. This dude's nuts."
That's my favorite scene in the movie. That moment with Agent Smith.
Oh, dude, that was definitely the best acted scene in the whole fucking movie. Dude, that was crazy. Dude, it was crazy. Bill Burr was in this fucking movie. Dude, no, I literally had to look it up because I thought that was Bill Burr for a minute.
Who?
Oh, the bald
Cypher. He even talks like him, dude. Like I thought it was Bill Burr. Like I was like, bro,
what?
Joe, this is big break.
I don't see it.
Joe Pantoliano, I think is the actor's name.
You don't think he looks like Bill Burr, dude? He's
like not at all.
I didn't.
If it was like his cousin.
Not even remotely.
Yeah. That's crazy to me. You didn't, especially because he was a dick. Like I was like, dude, is this just Bill Burr playing? Like this is back in the day. He would have killed it, dude. He would have been way funnier.
Joe Pantoliano he was born to play Cypher.
Dude, he did a great job. He just looks like Bill Burr. He just looks and sounds like Bill Burr.
I strongly disagree with that.
I don't see it.
Man, you almost had us there, Nate, because Bill Burr does randomly show up like
in movies. Like, dude, he's in fucking stuff. Mandalorian for some reason.
He's in Breaking Bad.
He's a major character.
Oh, that's right. He is not major, but
like, he's a consistent character in Breaking Bad, though. So
yeah. He's in some Chappelle Show sketches. Like it's just like, oh wait, this is
he's been around a lot longer than you think. That's why. I mean, partially I was like, what? Like, is that really Bill Burr?
I would have believed it, dude. You had me.
Dude, it would have been sweet if it was Bill Burr. I would have been way more into it. So I don't know if you guys know the directors of this movie. John, what's her name? Her last name?
Lily and Lana Wachowski.
Wachowskis. That's what I was wondering specifically. So the Wachowski sisters. It's gonna be a little shocking if you didn't know this when I said that.
I thought it was the Wachowski brothers.
Yeah, as in the end, it says that in the credits, but they are the Wachowski sisters, and as some of you might have known, but they have transitioned since this movie came out, and obviously a large interpretation of this movie is the trans-coded message throughout it, which obviously I think is a big interpretation of it. Obviously, I think for me, once again, personally, I think the movie is more about societal differences that because of their own feelings that probably even if they weren't out about it at the time were coming through in their art, you know what I mean? So whether that was their direct message, it definitely obviously showed through it.
Didn't they transition somewhat recently too?
I think so.
Yeah, not like a long time ago, I'm sure. Because most people probably wouldn't have even had the courage to do that for years, you know?
Yeah, I was just curious because I remember
it's still kind of recent.
Yeah, like it was definitely, it wasn't like 2 years after The Matrix came out. It was a while after.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is something you cannot now, especially talk about this movie and not talk about this. Especially like what we were talking about earlier with what the message of this movie has become in some ways, or at least what people have used scenes or I guess from this movie to represent, like with the red pill and shit like that, and even the black pill now that exists, which once again is so counterintuitive to what the very essence of what it is. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
you've never heard of black pill? So red pill was like
white pill.
Red pill.
There's also the doomer pill.
Is that different? I thought black pill was doomer pill. But
black pill is doomer pill.
There is no improvement. Like you are born in a certain, like basically like a class type thing, but all about attractiveness, obviously, or at least perceived attractiveness. And it's like you're born in this class, you can do this or this, and that's it. And like you might be able to do some things that look better, but you'll never really get out of this certain range. And
it's nihilism for Zoomers. What it is like a bunch of people who haven't seen The Matrix hearing about the red pill
meme,
and and then inventing other ones.
It really is like
and that's literally what it is.
I feel like a lot of it is like third-hand accounts of like movie scenes. Is like so they heard of like red pill and blue pill and just interpolated it into their own odd. Same thing with Fight Club. Like that's kind of what Fight Club's become, and it. I mean, a lot of people act like people don't know what Fight Club's about, but anyone that's actually watched Fight Club is obviously going to be like, this isn't what it's about. You know, like this is obviously not what it's about.
Yeah, I feel like it's because obviously there are like movies like that, like
American Psycho as well. Even
American Psycho, Fight Club that get fairly grossly misinterpreted. Now, of course, like obviously, what you get out of a movie is matters ultimately to you.
But all movies I love, I should add.
But there are definitely like clear things that are meant to mean something, like and that happens with those movies. But I feel like when it comes to whenever you hear like talks of like The Matrix and the red pill, I feel like it's so disconnected from the actual movie. Like
it's insane.
Yeah. It's not even misinterpreting the movie. It's just its own. It's become.
It's misinterpreting the idea in general, honestly.
Yeah,
like the scene. Like
I would argue that this, I feel like people aren't really trying to stay true to the movie. They're just They're just making it whatever they want to be to justify like doing nothing.
Well, to be honest, it kind of goes to what the movie says. Where like you're gonna get the truth out of this that you want. At the end of the day, it's kind of like what we talked about, where people are gonna see this as what they feels best for them, like what helps them the most. Like when they talk about the people in the Matrix are going to want to stick with it because like this is all we know, this is how we survive, and which once again is like a very like high level of foresight and understanding in this movie that is really cool, and probably part of the reason the next two aren't as good, because that's going to be hard to like hit that level of like, which like when we talked about Blade Runner, like that's a hard thing to pick up on and keep that theme going and not like affect it in any way, like give an answer. Yeah, or it's not even that, but like because it's like the question. Once again, the question is more important than the answer. But once you start getting answers, you're going to be disappointed, and that's what kind of happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's part of it, and that's one thing. Not to just slurp Blade Runner after we did it last week. That's what we talked about. We think it did well. Where it didn't really like give you those answers to keep that question going for you throughout the next movie, which I feel like is something you lose in the next two Matrix movies. Once again, don't remember them that well though. Yeah. Neo, so they might be amazing for all I remember.
Neo, more like Sneeko. Am I right? But like,
bro, I want to see Sneeko. I want to see Sneeko in the Matrix, out the Neo outfit, dude.
Sneo.
I supposed to see Sneeko fly away in the end.
I could see him like doing that, but like completely misinterpreting it, like we were just talking about.
Yeah,
like,
because
doing that scene.
What were you?
that is the peak of it. There's no way he's ever seen The Matrix.
Yeah,
he could not sit down and watch this.
But like what you're saying
actually,
about
you like probably would sit down and watch it and then give the worst take after. Like
probably.
You would watch again. It is literally like we're at the point in the game of telephone where it's like you're
getting such a third
connection to the source whatsoever.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what I was talking about. Is there's definitely like from all this stuff like because I always see the memes and stuff like a glitch in the Matrix and shit that there's Chunk in the background. You forget that like the glitches don't show up that much. Like in my head, I remember that being such a pivotal part of the movie, but it shows up in like 2 scenes. Yeah, you don't really see it much in that one.
It seems like they just thought it would be like a funny gag to be like, that's what deja vu is. Like,
I wouldn't say gag. I think it was a very cool way to interpret like normal phenomena in real life into the story, But it's funny because like it was so big that like that one scene got so big it took over. It's such a small part of the movie, but that's what most people remember for some reason. Like I like watching it now. I'm like, why did anyone care about that? Like that was so quick. Like he's like a cat, another cat. I didn't even realize it happened. I was like, it's the same cat.
That also isn't deja vu. It's just 2 black cats. Just
yeah. I also forget why would you say deja vu there?
Yeah.
bro, you would really be like, bro, this cat won't fucking stop walking around here.
Yeah.
Just this fucking weird ass cat.
What did you just say? Deja vu. deja vu. That's actually this. Like,
Yeah,
This is what South Park made fun of. That's so funny, and like the music gets real intense. Like, oh shit, they got him.
Yeah, they're on like red alert because of just one little deja vu.
yeah, it's one of those like moments for the plot where it has to sort of be like so overly on the nose where it's
It
like,
is sweet though. I'm gonna be honest. It's one of those things where like the over dramaticness of it works in this instance because like it's once again something you'd be like, yeah, deja vu happens every day. They're like, what the fuck? Like we're fucked right now. You are scared of Smith. I will say that in this. Like you're like, oh shit, he's here. Like throughout the whole movie.
So in the Matrix canon, like the actual real world, there's never any like coincidences.
No, yeah, no coincidences happen at all.
It never happens.
Apparently not.
Like, actual
I love
deja
that the
vu
peak
just,
of
like,
human civilization is the year 1999 also. No, one of the funniest scenes in this movie is when they have like the workplace instructional video on what happened to Earth after the war, and it's just like this shitty like CGI Earth like just teaching you how to be a rebel soldier. It's like, who made this? Who fucking made this video for them? I mean, I get that it's obviously the Matrix that they're using to do it, but it's just so funny that they have a workplace instructional video on joining the Rebel Alliance.
Well, that like the young kid probably made it, right?
Yeah, someone said they made it.
No, he said he made the training.
He made the girl.
Yeah, with the combat training though.
I assumed he did all of that stuff though.
I guess you're probably right though. I didn't really. Well, also Tank's a pretty good hacker. You get or whatever they are. I think they're supposed to be hackers because this was like the hacking trend start too. I think like really blew this up.
Download like MMA skills. And just,
oh, swear to God, dude, that's the coolest part of this movie too. But that's one of the interesting things because that kind of gets forgotten too now. Is like that's a cool idea where it's like you just have the abilities. It's a cool way to just write that in, but you have to have the confidence to use it or like the understanding to use it. That's like the cool part with the Morpheus Neo training. It's like what happens when two basically, I guess, perfect martial artists go up against each other. Like they know every move. It's just who performs better or knows they're going to do better.
Isn't that kind of how everything everywhere all at once, happened? That's how they got the powers, at least.
Yeah, it kind of. Because, I mean, they have to, like... He has to cut his finger, the webs of his fingers to do it. Which, once again, you see, it still inspires movies today. Especially, really interesting you bring that up because, like, this movie tried a lot, did a lot of interesting things, like, at the time, and Everything Everywhere All at Once is the same fucking thing. Obviously, that's a little more of a comedy, too, but... It's also a lot of action similar to this. Yeah, very ballsy and like I'm trying to think of the word for it.
Ambitious.
Ambitious is a good word. Yeah, very ambitious. So go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
I will say like I feel like one of the things negatively impacting my opinion, and I like this movie. I didn't say it was bad, but it's just that like
but you liked it the least.
You said it was bad.
Every movie that came out after this, like there's a Matrix, like I feel like it's like in 1 out of every 3 movies that's made there's a reference to the Matrix. Like it seems like that much.
It was that big, dude. People forget how big this movie was.
Like before I had seen the movie, I had already seen it parodied a bunch. So like it's tough for me to like go.
That hurts it too.
I wish I could have seen this movie when it released, because I probably have a different opinion of it. I mean, that's the case for anything.
I mean, you also gotta remember it was almost 25 years ago now. Like you gotta like. That's good. Like that's why I talk about the CGI being like sometimes it just like you can tell the difference now, but like it doesn't look that bad. You know what I mean? Like I talk about the mirror scene. I don't think it looks perfect, but I think the scene works. You know what I mean?
It's like
also when like the buildings wave and shit, that doesn't look great. I like the concept better.
I've heard it described before where like particularly in that era of the dawn of CG. And it wasn't even just in movies, but like also like in early like 3D video games as well, from like the Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, like where it was that transition was kind of rough. I've heard it like described in a way where regardless of the quality of the animation, you can still tell that it's good with like the actual like scene composition and
the actual scene is good.
The way it's put together is still good, and it works.
Yeah,
regardless
I agree with that 100%.
Like you could play like Final Fantasy VII, and even though they're
one of the best video games ever made.
These like goofy little block people,
little squares, little snowballs, snowmen.
It still all works and is still like emotionally effective and evocative.
Just like Wii Sports.
Just like Wii Sports, dude. Nothing gets me more hyped than a strike in Wii Sports, dude. You can't tell me otherwise.
Knocking Matt's ass out. One uppercut.
Boom.
We like just very like briefly mentioned like the transgender allegory, and I just wanted to like say like
We did kind of go right over it.
I thought about it like in my mind like going into it again, and like I actually did see like those connections, like when they make the reference to like, you know, being a prisoner of your own mind, which is like that relates
a lot of them would describe their experience
relating to someone like with body dysmorphia, where like and like when Morpheus actually like describes what the Matrix is, where it's like everything around you just feels wrong, you know, your whole reality feels wrong, and like I was like, oh okay, yeah.
A lot of people relate to that.
Someone like everything like just doesn't feel right, and you don't know why, and then you realize like, oh, it's because I am
of the perceptions of the world.
Yeah,
I am like that.
I am not what there is a disconnect.
What the world perceives me as.
There is a disconnect between my brain and my body, and you and Neo.
And also like society. Like society views, you know, things differently.
Yeah, well, that's obviously a big part of the whole story is society. Right.
Like because Neo, like the society says that he is Thomas Anderson, but he's really Neo.
He is Neo. Yeah, I think the dead name thing kind of goes into there, obviously too. Once again, that's why I think in the end this movie relates to such a wide audience, because it isn't specifically about, it uses the experience of a transgender person, but isn't specifically about being transgender. But, you know, it's more about that experience, which is,
it's hard,
in my opinion, the more important part. I'm not saying that you couldn't do it with actual transgender characters, obviously, but it's more about the experience is what I mean.
Yeah, I think broadly it's about a personal growth or change. And part of that, I mean, you see that a lot in other.
Yeah.
You were talking about kind of archetypal stories, Nate. There's so many stories about like death and rebirth that if you were a transgender individual, you could
relate
to those a lot. But that doesn't make it specifically targeted.
And that's what makes it a good story. Yeah.
So that's, I think that the broad appeal of it like is the one thing.
But that's why I was saying you could do it still with a trans character. It wouldn't take it away. That's not what's important, you know. It's more about the experience than the actual what happened, you know. Well, very, very appealing to a wide audience. Like most people could could relate to that in some way or another.
Whether you're like trapped in your job or trapped in
trapped in your body, trapped in life. Yeah, exactly.
The cool thing about art, and kind of I guess this movie even echoes that, is that you really do get to decide the meaning for yourself.
Yeah, it's more important what you get out of a movie at the end of the day. Like if it makes you feel more confident in yourself, or more comfortable in your body, or like even like less trusting of your government. Like no, like there's a lot of cool shit like that. You know, it's just
because nobody can tell you your interpretation is wrong about art, because literally I think is what defines art, if there is a definition.
Yeah, like I mean, like you could give a shit take, but it doesn't matter.
I could call you a dumbass if it's dumb.
You could be Sam right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Oracle even says like something kind of along those lines to Neo, where she's like, nobody really even knows better than you yourself about, you know, your reality. So
and once again, I think it goes back to the idea that once a kid says instead of trying to bend the spoon, you realize that the spoon's not even there, and it's like trying to change yourself to what you're supposed to be when you realize that there was never really what you have to be in the first place. You just are who you choose to be.
Yep.
I wish I knew the lore behind those kids. Like, how did they?
I feel like that might come up. I also want to know like what are the potential ones.
Whatever, fuck you.
Yeah, whatever, fuck you. Watch Matrix Reloaded.
But once again, though, that works better in this movie than getting the answers in the other ones when they're like, "Fuck you, dude!" Like, "Fuck you, dude." Think about it yourself.
Yeah. Actually, I don't like your answers.
I also think I actually wanted to look more into this, because I know there's the interpretation that like it doesn't matter whether you took the red or the blue pill. Obviously, like that it's a trick. Like it was just, and I don't know if this comes up in the later movies that like no matter what he gave him, it was going to be the same result either way. That the illusion.
The pill doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, the pill doesn't do anything.
It's a sugar pill.
The point is, so Morpheus isn't as trustworthy as you think, but he offers him the choice to convince him to do it. That's the point, is he just wants him to make the choice.
He just gives him
this. What Cypher was saying is like it wasn't really a choice. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I felt like if he took the blue pill,
later. I think that
would've-
comes up later. I don't think it mattered. I don't think the blue pill actually did anything. He just showed him it so that he would
It's
make
an
the choice
illusion
himself.
choice.
Remember he said he could show him the door. He can't make him walk through it, but he really did. Like he set him up that he showed him all those questions. There's no way you're going to say no to that at that point. He already gave him the answers and then was like, but unless you want to go back. It's like he couldn't go back anyway at that point. He already knew.
So he manipulated him?
Yeah,
That's
he
crazy.
manipulated him there.
Yeah, sure.
Well, he also knew too that Nero was looking for him for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neo. Neo was looking for him for years.
There you go,
so he
thinking
knew-
about the
he-
Roman
he-
Empire.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well,
he
check it out.
knew he knew that he wasn't satisfied in his life, and he was looking for something greater, and he felt like
Once again, I wish I could
Yeah,
remember
he
the
knew
older
when he was
the
gonna
next
do it. Yeah, I
movies,
agree.
but I feel like that comes up. That illusion of the choice that he didn't really have a choice anyway. He was going to do it no matter. Like once he did set him up like that, he was going to do it.
Also,
I
if
figured
he
they
would have
just
told
take
them,
home.
if he would have told them the whole truth, where he's like, "Yeah, Earth is actually fucked. Like, you're going to be fighting a war the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Less
that's what I
people
mean.
are going to commit." Like,
Yeah, he hid the truth from him.
he
Is probably what it was.
omitted details that he knew would influence people.
Yeah, I'm trying to like remember the movies that I don't really remember too much here. I'm like trying to piece it together. So I think actually what Cole said is right. That he just omitted the truth from him to get him to say yes.
Benadryl or Percocet.
Yeah,
It's your
but he was
choice.
offering the truth. That's what the red pill was the truth. Like, so of course he's gonna, not tell him like what's going on until after he takes the pill. I don't
Look,
know.
I just remember there's more to that question than what is in this movie. That's all I remember. That's all I remember.
I think the way to close off before we get to the ratings, ultimately, what are you taking? Blue or red?
I'm taking the
Red
blue
pill.
pill.
Once again, there is no real choice. I'm taking the red pill.
I'm taking the blue pill, and I'm gonna live a happy life, and that's that.
Eat a delicious, juicy steak.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Try to take the blue pill and he just forces it down your throat anyway, the red one.
Well, you eat the blue pill and then you already know anyway about the Matrix.
You got to take the red pill and then do what the guy did and leverage a good blue pill position. Like that's what you got to do. 'Cause you can't take the blue pill and go back to the
Oh yeah,
asshole.
he really took his opportunities, dude, and set himself up.
He's a
Never
bad
come
guy.
back as
Oh,
being
can't even
an
be
asshole.
mad.
We cannot get away from this scene because I talked about shit that looked bad. When Bill Burr's stand-in dies, when Cypher dies, I'm not gonna be a dick and not call him by his character name, but he's just like that stupid laser that's like, and, like that was the dumbest
Yeah.
scene in the movie. But whatever, once again, whatever. It doesn't really affect the movie, but so funny when you hear like, it's like a laser gun.
The Ghostbusters gun.
The
I was gonna
Ghostbusters.
say,
fucking-
yeah, it looked just like Ghostbusters.
We mentioned earlier about the color green being, super apparent in the movie. So I looked it up. I mean, in terms of color theory and like what colors mean in movies, it's often used for an unchanging nature, renewal, youth, and that all just I don't know. That all sounds kind
all
of
goes to
familiar.
Neo. Yeah.
In terms of the
Makes
movie Neo, yeah.
Very
There was a
interesting.
lot of
I actually
green,
didn't even look that up. It was
That's a
very
double
green.
blind. I think that was just this is the computer code color, and then they got lucky with.
I think
That's what I wondered. Yeah.
sometimes shit lines up, Sam. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's a double entendre.
All right, Chris, kick it off.
Yeah, I mean, I said at the start, like I feel like I've heard so much about The Matrix in my life without having watched it, and so I had pretty high expectations that I feel like the movie met for the most part. It wasn't perfect. My least favorite thing was the kiss at the end because I don't understand it. But other than that, I like the concept. I like the action. I like the visuals for the most part. And so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else wants to jump in.
I'm waiting.
I'll go.
I'm withholding my opinion
Yeah.
so far.
I'll go. I'm with Chris. I think this movie is super creative and it's super influential for a reason. That they did things that, like, I don't know, I've never seen in movies before that. My only complaint, which I didn't talk about that much, but just Neo's like facial expressions and how he talks, like he just doesn't come across as like a normal person to me. He seems kind of like wooden, but that's kind of a minor gripe.
I mean, he's only been human for how long in the time span of the movie? Would you think?
Okay,
about
but
it?
he's
Yeah, I forgot
talked
how
to
old he's
people
supposed to be.
before.
He did live in a simulation.
Yeah, But
Like
yeah,
we
I
all
mean,
know.
other than that, like
Shattering.
I think the fight scenes are really cool, really interesting. I think it's an 8 as well.
Nate, do you
Okay,
wanna go?
fuck it, I'll go. I'm probably so I've been really. That's why I've been waiting. I'm really stuck between like an 8 and a 9. But I think I got to give it an 8. I really do like this movie. I think it's insanely groundbreaking. Like I can't stress how important it is that like every movie that came out after this was copying it in some way. Like this movie changed. It was one of those big movies that dropped like right at the start of the 2000s that kind of shifted the style that was big for like maybe a decade. Everything was trying to be like it. Everything copied the style with the leather and the super slow mo action shots and the crazy explosions and everything like that. Especially in sci-fi, like in any sci-fi movie after this, you can see it 100%. There is so much leather all of a sudden in everyone you watch. But
Matrix popularized leather.
dude, leather and sci-fi. I don't know if
It
there's like
didn't
a
hurt.
word for that. It didn't hurt it. It didn't hurt it,
Leather
dude.
stocks went way up.
It was still cool in this movie. But I don't think I talked about it enough that I also really like this fucking soundtrack in this movie. All the music was bangers. Its use of like EDM music or electronic music was pretty big at the time. Like I don't think a lot of movies were using it. Yeah, once again, it's hard to between the 8 and the 9, but there's definitely parts I'm not the biggest fan of, like that definitely didn't age as well, and I feel like it's either the style really works for you or it's not gonna, and it's just some parts didn't. So 8 for me, I think I have to go with.
8's across the board.
Still loved it though.
I will start off with the rating and say that this is a strong 6 to a light 7.
Ooh, he was scared to give it a 6.
Yeah, because it's not a 6. It's better than a 6.
It's slightly better than a 6. You've been giving
yeah.
0.5s. Just give it a 0.5.
Nah, because I'm gonna mix it up a little. Strong 6, light 7.
I gotta do it different every time.
Just gonna get a little
It's,
silly.
yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I could definitely watch this movie like a bunch. It's a very rewatchable movie, but there's just some goofy stuff and like I don't know. It wasn't anything like mind blowing for me. I didn't think it was the greatest movie ever made, but a lot to enjoy. A lot of cool shit. Hugo Weaving rules. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's all I got to say about The Matrix. All right, John, from Knock Knock, the 2015 movie, to Fortnite John Wick. What are you feeling?
See, now this is fucked up, Sam, because Knock Knock, which I think I'm gonna have to recommend it one of these days. Because
Good movie.
No. It is one of the actual most dog shit fucking movies I've ever seen, but it is so funny. Like I will recommend it one day. It's fucking hilarious. But I'm gonna go with Fortnite John Wick because I mean, like, you know.
Hell yeah.
That's peak. This is peak.
Yeah, this movie's. I love this movie. It's fantastic. And shout out. We didn't talk about her enough, but Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yeah, we did kind of forget about the only woman in the movie throughout the whole thing.
I didn't like the actress was fine, but I didn't like her character that much. And
Nah,
like,
it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. Never mind, 0.
Yeah, true.
Wait, her and what's it called had a conversation maybe.
Did they
Switch.
have a conversation?
No,
about
I don't think
something
so.
Other than a man, I can't remember.
Yeah,
They
I feel like
did.
it was always like, do you believe in him?
Switch said to Trinity, "I don't want to die like this." Boom, passes the Bechdel test right there.
But
right there.
doesn't there have to like not be a guy in the room or something? Like, doesn't
It
that
has
kind
to-
of-
No, they have to
involve-
not be talking about a guy.
Yeah.
Or well, I don't think. I think they can't be on like in the screen.
Well, we can officially like this movie.
Boom! This
Look,
movie is
don't
the
worry
first
about
10 out of
gray
10
area
film
of
friends.
About means,
Yeah.
you know, that's a huge about, but whatever. Nick, what do you?
Yeah, Nick, we're
what do
waiting on
think?
you, buddy.
I'd have to give this movie a solid 7.5. Especially for its time, I feel like it was way ahead. I don't know, how did it do in theaters, by the way? At the
Amazing,
time?
dude.
Yeah,
This
Just
movie
kinda
was
curious
huge.
how I think about it.
I remember people talking about watching this multiple times in theaters. Like, this how big this movie was.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, it's a sweet action movie. I bet it would be better in theaters. I could promise you that.
I would say I could see how it was definitely groundbreaking for the time. Not quite as groundbreaking for me whenever I watched it, but it's what I found fascinating was kind of like, and this was already mentioned, seeing all the different nods and mentions and influences it has had on all the media I've already seen. And I guess that's kind of why it didn't have this same wow factor
big
for
effect.
me. Yeah,
Well,
but it was still well done in general. So like I said, 7.5.
So good. Cole, Sam, officially the hater of the episode.
Biggest hater,
Cole,
dude.
Cole, when did you watch this
You're
movie?
getting
I
voted
actually
off,
didn't-
Sam.
I didn't think to ask this. Like, when did most people experience this movie for the first time? Was it this, or
High school.
did you?
I watched it in Blake's basement like a year ago.
I think I saw it
Really?
in college. Like
Really?
summer
Parents'
break in college.
Sam, that's like the best place to experience this movie. This was one of like the movies I watched in like middle school with my brother. Like, with going through like all the movies, like you have to watch this. Like, and this was one of them. And funnily enough, I remember liking it more then, but I also don't remember. I didn't remember as much as I thought. Well, it was a long time ago, obviously, because and especially with like I said, the social, like the social. What the fuck is the word? Like you talked about the third party stuff, or the third, like the telephone shit. Like it's so like changed from what the opinion is of it, that like I completely had forgotten some like the deja vu thing was not important really to the plot at all, and I remember it being such a bigger deal and stuff like that. It is crazy to think the effect it had like that on. Once again, only word I can think of is social media, but I guess just media, pop culture. There you go. Pop culture is exactly the word I was looking for. Thank you. I just like brain farted on the word pop culture.
My memory of this movie is that it was a DVD that my dad had that I was never allowed to watch, and I remember looking at it when I was like 6 years old and being like, one day I'm gonna watch The Matrix.
and he fucking shit on it, bro. Like, this is why. This is why, because he wasn't allowed to watch it. There's a lot of
That
spite.
was Full Metal Jacket.
That was a
for me.
faded moment from your dad. Sam. He was like, don't watch it.
He knew.
Dude, he was like the Oracle, dude. He knew he was like, you're not gonna like this movie.
Sam's dad was giving him his red and blue pill moment. He's like, you can either watch this or don't.
It might have been the first
Either way,
movie
you'll
that I
hate on
got,
it.
Like this movie's rated R. You're not allowed to watch rated R movies.
I didn't even know this movie was rated R, bro. There was like no gore.
Yeah, I think it's PG.
I was gonna say it's
PG-13.
PG-13. Yeah.
Damn, Sam wasn't allowed to watch the
Maybe, I don't know.
PG-13.
He's 6 years old.
People get beat up, but
I would
yeah,
be surprised if
not
this
too
was
bad.
rated R because there's not even like many swear words either.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous though with the rated R system, especially probably in 1999. Like it could be any reason.
Oh, it's
Did they,
changed
like,
so
say
much
fuck in
over the
this
years.
movie?
I don't think
The
they did.
Matrix movie released
Matrix
in
doesn't say fuck.
1999 is rated
get-
R.
Oh,
Damn, that's crazy.
That's
There's
wild.
nothing in this. Like nothing happens to be rated R.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
weird.
All the weird shit with like when he's in the tube.
I guess, yeah.
And,
No, it's literally because like it's anti like social norms. That's why probably it got rated R, because it's like about
Yeah.
going against society, and that probably wasn't too cool at the time. They probably weren't too happy about that back then.
The Matrix made 460 million on a budget of 63 million, so about 8 times over, which is pretty
That's
insane.
especially for the time. That was probably crazy like profit.
that's a Billy now.
That's a Billy.
Well, because I think
Dude, his money.
I think
doubled in 20 years. Fuck.
I think it's time to go to the wheel, and it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be
Wait, wait,
cool,
wait.
and then
Cool.
we gotta make the
Stop
meme of.
bringing up how worthless money is getting. Let's go to the wheel.
And then we gotta do the meme of you spin the wheel, and it's like it's gonna be Chris or Cole, the illusion of free choice.
Cody, you have
Are
something
we,
to
are
say?
we gonna start taking people's
Take
names
the red
off?
pill.
until
Oh,
we all go
were you not
through?
here? Yeah, me and Chris are gonna be off it this week until Nick
Okay.
goes.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not on the wheel because we did my movie today,
Chris is
but
somehow gonna get
thank you for the pick, Chris. It was good.
Nate is
Fuck.
also off the wheel until Nick gets picked because Nick hasn't got.
Well, until everyone goes once, we'll just do a cycle of
Is it
everybody and then
spinning?
go
I
back.
can't.
lagging.
It's
it
lagging.
is
lagging.
spinning. Oh, is it lagging?
Come on, baby. Come on.
Let's
Come on. Come on. Come on.
I
Come
want
on.
Sam to go next. Let's go. I'm excited for
Yeah,
John's
there we go.
It's been a minute.
Big
since
You,
I've
let's
It's been-
hear
it's-
it, John.
Oh, it's been a long time coming. I've
Let me guess. Real Steel.
Dude, Real Steel's hard.
Is that
Maybe-
actually what-
maybe someday, Sam. Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
It's on the list.
I've been seeing people talking about it.
It's
more
over
recently.
Old Boy.
Yeah, it's been like quite a while since I've gone, and like not a big deal, obviously, but like I've
You've been fiending.
I've gone back and forth on like so many different like ideas about what I've wanted to watch and like what I've wanted to recommend to you guys. I think I'm just gonna like I think just because it's been so long, I'm just gonna do like a penultimate kind of pick. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
Do it.
Mind.
Let's go.
My favorite movie.
Oh,
Number one.
good, dude.
Number
I'm so
one.
happy. John's number one's coming. We're hitting some number ones lately, dude. It's pretty crazy.
I'm down.
When are we gonna watch Star Wars?
When we watch Interstellar.
I'm a big fan of this movie, dude. I'm actually excited for everyone else to get to see it.
I'm ready for my heart to get ripped out. So,
have you watched this before, Cole?
No, I've heard it's really sad though.
Yeah. I mean, well,
I won't say.
You have your own opinion at the end. So
yeah, maybe
you'll find out next week. So
yeah.
Are Nate and I the only ones who have seen it?
I would think so.
I have not
Have
seen
you
it.
watched
I saw
it?
like half of it, I think, maybe at some point.
I will say this is a very beautiful movie. Like you're in for a pretty cool experience. So I would. It's definitely like pay attention to the scenes. Like it's gonna be worth it. It rewards you for paying attention.
Watch it on your phone in a loud room.
Yeah.
Radio on.
With one headphone in.
I would recommend, maybe like some Subway Surfer on like another screen.
On the side, just in case you get distracted.
Yeah, like to avoid looking at your phone, you can look at Subway Surfer.
Yeah, I would recommend joking while you watch this movie.
Yeah.
What is that?
Dude, no, joking is like a supposed like massage method. It's a massage method that supposedly makes your dick bigger.
This better not be in the video, dude.
No, this is in the video. It's a good.
John, you gotta show me, dude. How does it work?
You haven't joked, or you?
Stay tuned for the joking video.
Yeah,
the joking video.
Nate needs to take the joke pill.
The joke pill. I didn't know about
To
that.
pay $10
I knew about
extra
the black
for
pill.
that.
Yeah, that's on the Patreon.
See you guys. Thanks for coming.